There is a quiet moment that almost everyone misses, a moment so ordinary it slips past without recognition. It is the moment your wanting turns heavy, the moment desire tightens into pressure. You feel it in your chest, you feel it in your breath, you feel it as a subtle urgency that says, this must happen right now, and the instant that pressure appears, something shifts not outside you. Inside you, your energy stops inviting and starts demanding. It feels like focus. It feels like commitment. It feels like effort. But energetically, it is contraction. And contraction is where manifestation slows. This is the first truth you need to hear. The quantum does not respond to how badly you want something. It responds to how safely you can hold the possibility of it. The moment you grip a desire, you send a message, not with words, with your body, with your nervous system, with your breath. And that message is simple. I am not there yet. I do not have this. I need this to arrive so I can relax. The field hears that instantly. People think attachment is passion, but attachment is tension. It is the strain that forms when your future feels like it must rescue you from the present, and the body does not interpret that as hope. It interprets it as threat. When something feels necessary, your system prepares to protect. Breath shortens, awareness narrows, muscles brace, the chest hardens just enough, and you may not even notice it happening. But the field notices, because the field listens to your body, not your affirmations. You can say all the right words, you can visualize every night, you can repeat intentions until they lose. If your body is bracing, the signal is blocked, not because you are doing something wrong, but because protection and creation cannot run at the same time. Creation requires openness. Protection closes the system. Creation expands, protection contracts. Creation allows uncertainty, protection demands certainty. And the moment you demand certainty, the timeline freezes, because the quantum cannot move. Where energy is clenched, this is the paradox. Holding on does not bring things closer. It keeps them suspended like a breath that is never released. The physics are simple. Coherence creates form. Incoherence delays it. And attachment creates incoherence. When your mind says, I want this, but your body says, I do not trust this, the body wins always. Because the body is the broadcast. The body is the signal. The mind is only commentary. This is why trying harder never works. This is why forcing positivity feels exhausting. This is why the more you need something, the further away it feels. You are not being tested. You are being mirrored. Detachment is not giving up. It is removing interference. It is the absence of internal noise. It is what happens when your system stops fighting the unknown. Letting go is not a decision, it is a state. It happens when there is enough internal space, space in the chest, space in the breath, space in the belly, space in your sense of self. And that space does not begin in the mind, it begins in the body, in the softening. You allow in the moment, you stop rehearsing, lack. The first sign of detachment is physical, a breath that deepens without effort, a release. You did not force a sense that nothing is wrong right now. That is not resignation, that is readiness. This is where manifestation actually begins. Not when you focus harder, but when you stop gripping. Not when you visualize longer, but when your system feels safe enough to receive. And when that safety appears even briefly, the signal clears, the field responds, and movement begins again. Attachment is one of the most misunderstood patterns in personal growth. People believe it means caring deeply, wanting strongly, staying committed. But attachment is not devotion, it is dependence. It is the feeling that says, if this does not happen, I will not be okay. And the moment that belief forms, your energy collapses inward, your awareness starts scanning your thoughts, start checking. Is it close? Did I miss something? Why is it not here yet? This scanning feels harmless, but it locks you into the emotional memory of not having. And the nervous system predicts the future based on emotional memory, so it keeps you aligned with the same timeline, the timeline where the desire stays ahead of you. This is not punishment. It is pattern. Attachment also disrupts the heart field. When you cling emotionally, the rhythm of the heart becomes uneven, jagged, inconsistent, and the quantum responds to coherence. Not hope, you can imagine the best outcome, but if the rhythm underneath is unstable, the image does not collapse into form. At the root of attachment is fear, not fear of failure, fear of identity, fear of who you believe you will be if this does not arrive, fear of time, fear of repeating the past, fear of being unseen. That fear becomes louder than the desire, and the field mirrors the louder signal. The shift begins when you stop judging the attachment, when you stop trying to fix it and start noticing it. You feel the grip in your chest. You hear the urgency in your thoughts. You sense the tightness in your breath, and instead of forcing release, you allow awareness. Awareness alone loosens the pattern because the body stops rehearsing what it no longer needs to hide. Letting go is not something you perform. It is what happens when the system no longer feels threatened, and when the system relaxes, frequency rises, coherence returns. The field responds not because you demanded, but because you became available. There is a specific moment in the manifestation process that almost no one talks about. Because it is quiet, because it does not look dramatic, because it does not feel like effort. It is the moment the desire remains, but the weight around it disappears. You still care, but you are no longer gripping. You still intend, but you are no longer leaning into the future. This is the detachment shift. Most people think detachment means indifference, but detachment is permission. It tells the field there is no interference here. There is space, and space is. What the universe moves through fastest attachment creates drag detachment, removes it instantly. When you stop monitoring the outcome, your brain stops preparing for disappointment. The circuits of vigilance calm. The body exits micro-survival, breath deepens, the chest softens, the belly releases. These changes are not side effects, they are the mechanism. When the emotional memory of lack fades, your signal lifts. And when your signal lifts, your future can recognize you. Detachment is not passive, it is receptive. It is the shift from forcing alignment to allowing reorganization. You are not saying you do not want this. You are saying you are no longer interfering. The detachment shift is felt as neutrality, not apathy. Trust, neutrality, is spacious. And spaciousness is magnetic. When you stop sending mixed signals, when your emotional waves stop colliding, they stabilize, and stable waves collapse into form quickly. This is physics, not philosophy. There are 3 sensations that mark this shift: a lightness in the chest, a widening of awareness, a calm that does not depend on timing. These are signs of coherence, and coherence is the accelerator. When your body stops contradicting itself, reality responds. This is why things often move. Suddenly after you let go, messages arrive, opportunities appear, synchronicities increase, not because you did something new, but because you stopped blocking what was already moving. You are not losing control, you are removing resistance. And once you feel the speed of a universe that is no longer fighting your grip, you stop manifesting from tension. When detachment becomes natural, life starts reorganizing around you, not the other way around. Choices feel cleaner, timing feels precise, growth feels calm. This is the identity beneath true manifestation. The version of you that does not chase, does not push, does not manage outcomes to feel worthy. This identity manifests through availability, through openness, through space. The universe responds to space with precision in this state. You are not vibrating with lack. You are not negotiating with desire. Your body is not rehearsing urgency. There is a grounded coherence that speaks without words. This identity is not built. It emerges when static dissolves, when the nervous system stops bracing, when the heart stops tightening around time. What remains is a signal the field recognizes immediately. Because it is honest, physically this feels like stability. Breath settles, posture opens, awareness widens. You are no longer pulling the future toward you. You are allowing it to approach. Manifestation speeds up. Not because you want better, but because you receive better. Wanting is loud. Receiving is quiet. Wanting says I need, receiving says I am ready. The field responds to readiness. Surrender feels like space. Trust feels like warmth. Alignment feels like neutrality. These are not forced states. They are the result of release. When you live from this identity, life feels guided, not controlled. Intuition sharpens actions, movement becomes clean, not because you changed reality, but because you stopped contradicting yourself. This identity does not collapse. Timelines collapse around it. And if you can feel even a small softening right now, that is not imagination. That is alignment. Beginning the fact that you can sense it means your field is already adjusting. You are already loosening the grip, already entering coherence, already creating space. Manifestation activates here in ease, in openness, in detachment. This is where movement returns. This is where timelines free themselves. This is where the future finally has room to arrive. There is another layer to this that matters more than technique. It is how you relate to the waiting. The waiting is where most people tighten. They tell themselves they are being patient, but inside they are bracing. They are counting moments, measuring progress, judging silence. Silence is not absence. Silence is space. And space is where things move when nothing seems to be happening. Your system reveals its habits. Do you relax, or do you lean forward internally? That lean is the grip every time you notice yourself leaning. Bring attention back to the body, not to fix, not to force, just to feel. Feel the weight of your breath. Feel the support under you. Feel the moment you are in. This is not distraction. This is alignment. Presence is not passive. Presence is powerful because presence removes interference. You do not need to convince the universe. You need to stop arguing with it. The argument is subtle. It sounds like, why not yet? It sounds like, what if it never comes? It sounds like I am doing everything right. Those thoughts are not wrong. They are signals. They show where tension lives, and tension is simply energy asking for space. Give it space not by thinking, by softening. Softening the jaw, softening the shoulders, softening the belly. Let the body know there is no emergency. When the body believes there is time, the future stops rushing away. It begins to approach. This is how trust forms, not as belief, as sensation. Trust feels like steadiness. It feels like being here without needing proof. It feels like allowing today to be enough. And from that enough, movement comes. You will notice something. Shift your thoughts, lose urgency. Your desires feel cleaner. You still want, but you no longer chase. This is the sweet spot. Desire without pressure, intention without weight in this state. You act when action is natural. You rest When rest is right, you listen instead of pushing, and life responds, quietly at first. Then clearly, not because you demanded, but because you finally made room. Remember, this detachment is not distance. It is intimacy with the present. It is being so here that the future can find you. Nothing is missing. Nothing is late. Your only work is to release the grip again and again, gently, patiently. Each time you soften, the signal clears. Each time you clear, the path opens. This is how manifestation activates, not through strain, through space.